What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. And today I came across something from the much beloved actor David Harewood. He's a well-known actor from these shores, at least from my perspective, in which he starred in several films and TV series, most notably for people I think Homeland and Supergirl, in which he plays the Martian. I think they're the two ones in particular which people will recognise him, at least in the recent times. Now he's recently released his memoirs in a book titled Maybe I Don't Belong Here. The thumbnail is the cover for his book, and I'll also put links to the description for you to purchase if you wish. Now, upon reading the title alone, and then also reading his description, it was almost perfect timing into some feelings and conversations that I've been having with myself and with other people in this space about whether we actually belong here. So this book, it just acted as almost a final sign and confirmation that I had to produce this video, because speaking personally from someone living in the UK and a lot of others that I've spoken to as well, we've all had struggles about belonging, about whether I belong here, because those of us know that we have backgrounds that exist outside of the UK, whether it be Africa or the Caribbean. And I know firsthand when I travelled back to those places that, first off, I've always been seen as an outsider. So even classing myself as being, of Caribbean heritage, that never flied when I went back there. They always saw me as, being British, and you always saw me as having money and all this kind of other stuff that they projected and put on me. And I'm like, that's not really near the case. Whereas when I come back to the UK, clearly, without even question, you could tell that I'm an outsider here. And that's also been evidenced with the many conflicts that our people have faced since flipping out the beginning of time. So with all those issues combined, it's created a mental instability, an imbalance, which for a lot of us, and especially in the case of David Harewood in his memoirs that you read, it seems to cause us to go over the edge, because we are so trying to fit in that what we do is that we glean to whatever group or culture that will accept us, whether it be our home cultures, if you like, or what they call it, our home cultures, or even cultures abroad that we try and glean to, which everything has a sort of black connotation to, we'll try and glean towards it. And it's evident when you look at the black culture here in the UK, because when you dissect it, when you look at its actual parts, what is it? It's mostly just a hybrid version of another culture that we have used and served as inspiration to form what we like to call our own subculture. But that's still a sub from an actual main culture that we've had to try and derive from, which I know everyone technically does, but it's so evident when it comes to our culture. And that leads me to the image that you're viewing onto the screen, because the image is a breakdown of the number of detentions for mental health per 100,000 between 2017 and 2020. And you can clearly see this without a shadow of the doubt, that we as a group of people have some serious issues that we need to address. We are by far the biggest group to be detained under the Mental Health Act. And in the book that David Harewood released, he himself opens up about what caused him to go over the edge, the issues that he faced. Of course, he was an actor, so there's also other pressures, but just in general, being a black guy living in the UK. And it just serves as a reminder, at least for me, in regards to the conversation that I've been having, that we really need to take the time to ensure that we look after our own mental health, because a lot is always talked about the physical body, but not enough is talked about the mental side of things, which if anyone has trained long enough, they would know in whatever sort of sport, if it's like a fighting sport, but even just in general, any athletes or anyone who's trained on the gym, they would know, and they will tell you this, that the mind is so much more important than the body. So many athletes have failed, not because they're physically incapable of actually performing the sport or doing the activities, but because they have that capacity, that mental capacity, which just fails them because they don't have it all in check. And that's the most important thing when it comes to us as just human beings, regardless of whether we're doing anything in terms of athletic abilities. So in this video, all I want to say and what I want to point out is, please take the time to ensure that you recharge your mind and stay away from things which you know will negatively impact that, whether it be certain people in certain places, family members, exes, whatever it is, where possible now, because there may be some things which is not possible, but where possible, remove it or minimize the risk. Because again, looking at the image on the screen, looking at these statistics, we are clearly at the most risk. Now, I'm not going to go into reasons why I think that is the case, but the evidence is there. Believe it or not. I'll even put links in the description so you can look at it for yourself. We are clearly at the most risk. And the last thing I want to say before I leave, I just want to say this. And again, this was inspired by someone I was speaking to on the panel. So Vincent, big up to yourself. This idea of not belonging is probably the exact same feeling that I'm guessing that approximately over 80% of mixed people feel due to their genetic makeup. And we as a people, we have to do better here as black people, because we have to stop using them as political footballs and punching bags whenever it suits our agenda. Because I've seen it time and time and time again, where we have, let's be honest, it could be classified as hate speech, where we have used topics to justify it when it comes to just colorism topic, when it comes to favoritism, when it comes to TV, films, etc., particularly in the black sector. And also when it comes to situations where we talk about racial issues, particularly as of late, about which side that they should align to. And the thing is, and the ironic thing is, we don't like it when we try and align ourselves with other groups, and say if we disagree, they come back and say, well, you're not part of this, you're not this, you're not that. So why in the same token or the same vein will we then treat mixed people in the exact same way, knowing how it makes us feel when they're trying to do the same thing that we're trying to do, which is just fit in? Because we treat them as hostiles, let's be honest, and enemies of the state when they say something or something happens which doesn't suit our agenda. It's like we want them to just take all the heat, sit down and shut up, and whenever they say something, all of a sudden we gang upon them and say, nah, you're mixed, nah, you're not black, you're not one of us, you're half this, you're half that. And like, that can't operate like this. Because just like us, they had no choice in the colour of their skin, they had no choice who their parents were going to be, and definitely had no choice as to where they was even going to be born. Because if you also look at the same image on the screen, you'll also see something else as well. That after the black people, as an ethnic group, being the most detained under the Mental Health Act, the next group after that is mixed people. And I even mentioned this in my video, not the fact that they were the second group to be detained under the Mental Health Act, but I mentioned it in a video titled Mixed Race but Pro-Black, that a lot of the self-esteem issues that I believe that they face, a lot of it comes from the self-esteem issues that black people themselves have within themselves, which they've clearly transmitted to them. Because especially in the case when it comes to mixed women now, and I'm being honest with you, they are the main punching bags for obvious reasons, which I'm not even going to go into, but for obvious reasons, you can figure out why that is. If you look at the statistics that I've also put on the screen right now, when they do happen to have to pick a side because you guys like to use them as political footballs, punching bags for whatever issues that you have internally, nearly 70% of the time, it's the white side that they pick. Now, why do you think that is? We all need to come together and put all this BS away. I'm telling you, because it's driving us apart. So we all need to come together. So that's all I wanted to share for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Until next time, I'm out.